I could feel the dust kicking up under my boots as I stared at the convoy snaking down the dirt road like a bad omen from some forgotten Western flick. 15 U-Haul trucks, each lugging prefab storage units that gleamed under the relentless Arizona sun, heading straight for my 5 acres of barren paradise. The land I'd bought fair and square, deed in hand, no strings attached. But there they were, uninvited guests turning my quiet slice of freedom into their personal playground. All because some HOA busybody decided community progress trumped property rights. It started innocently enough, or so it seemed, with a knock on my door a week earlier. Olivia Nash, president of the Sunridge Bluffs Homeowners Association, a woman who wore her authority like a crown made of plastic pearls, stood there with her ever-present clipboard, her pastel sweater screaming, "I'm reasonable, really. Jack, darling," she cooed, her voice dripping with that fake sweetness that made my teeth ache. "We're all about evolving as a community here. You can't just hoard that empty lot behind the east fence and expect us not to notice." I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, trying not to laugh at how her oversized sunglasses slipped down her nose as she flipped through her papers. "That's my land, Olivia. Bought it 4 years ago, paid in full. Not part of your HOA kingdom." She tilted her head, giving me that pitying smile reserved for people who didn't get the rules. "Oh, honey, it's not in the HOA, sure, but it's adjacent. And honestly, what are you even doing with it? Letting it sit there like a wasteland? We're expanding storage for the neighborhood. Limited access is a real issue, you know." The board voted unanimously. Progress waits for no one. I didn't bite back then. No point arguing with someone who treated bylaws like holy writ. Instead, I nodded politely, shut the door, and watched from my window as she sauntered back to her golf cart, probably already mentally redecorating my property. See, I'd heard the whispers around the neighborhood for months. "Jack Harlan, the recluse who doesn't play by the rules," they said. "The guy who painted his mailbox a shade too blue, ignored the annual block party, and, gasp, let weeds grow a fraction over regulation height." They'd slapped me with fines for nonsense, spread rumors that I was antisocial or worse, some kind of hermit hoarder. But I kept quiet, paid the fines when I had to, and observed. Patience, I figured, was my best weapon against these clipboard tyrants. Fast forward 7 days, and the invasion began. I was sipping coffee on my porch when the first truck rumbled in, followed by a crew of workers who didn't even glance my way. They fenced off a chunk of my land like it was theirs by divine right, poured concrete for a parking pad that looked suspiciously permanent, and started assembling those shiny storage units. 15 of them, lined up like soldiers in a parade no one asked for. They even installed a keypad gate with a sign that read, "Sunridge Secure Storage, HOA members only. Inquire within for access." All without a single permit check or a courtesy call to me, the actual owner. I could have stormed over, deed waving like a flag. But nah. I grabbed a lawn chair, planted it under the scraggly mesquite tree, the only shade on my lot, and watched the show. Olivia was there, of course, strutting around in her sensible heels that sank into the sand with every step, directing traffic like a queen bee. "Over there, boys. Make sure it's level. We can't have uneven units. That's against code," she'd bark, then turn to a potential renter with a beaming smile. $75 a month, dear. Secure, convenient, and all profits go back to the community. Isn't that just wonderful? One afternoon, as the units filled up faster than a Black Friday sale, she spotted me lounging with a cold soda. "Jack, you're being awfully passive about this," she said, her tone laced with that mock concern that screamed suspicion. "I thought you'd pitch a fit. Glad to see you've embraced the spirit of unity." I took a slow sip, meeting her gaze over the rim of my can. "Oh, I'm embracing something, all right. The view's priceless." She chuckled, that tight, nervous laugh that didn't reach her eyes. "Well, good. Progress suits you." Little did she know, I was letting them bury themselves deeper. Deeds safely locked in my safe, stamped and notarized, ready for the right moment. By the 3rd week, every unit was rented out. The HOA newsletter, delivered to my mailbox despite my land not being in their jurisdiction, bragged about the innovative revenue stream and how it funded essential enhancements. They even hiked dues by $20 a month to kickstart Phase 2, expanded facilities. Residents grumbled a bit, but most swallowed it, too busy with their manicured lawns to question the details. Me? I smiled and waited, noting every envelope of cash Olivia collected, every key she handed out, every boastful tour she gave. Then, when they were smug and settled, I made my move. A quiet call to the county property office. Yeah, hi. I'd like to report a trespass on my land. Got the deed to prove it. The next day, Inspector Kevin Roth pulled up in his dusty county truck. A no-nonsense guy with a clipboard of his own and a glare that could curdle milk. He eyed the storage row like it personally offended him. You Jack Harlan? Filed the encroachment. I nodded, handing over my folder, surveys, tax receipts, title clear as day. 5 acres, rural residential zoning, 0 HOA annexation. He scanned the docs, grunted approvingly, then marched the perimeter with a laser measure, muttering about no permits, blatant violations. This town's a joke. They pour that concrete on your say-so? He asked, jabbing at the pad. Nope, just showed up. And the electric hookup? Meter box tied to the grid. They're doing. No easement. He clicked his tongue, disgusted. They collecting rent? 75 a pop, units full. His eyes widened. That's fraud on private property. Felony territory. You want to pursue? I didn't blink. To the hilt. The next morning, I strolled into the county planning office in my faded jeans and boots. No frills. Roth met me, led me to a conference room where 2 more officials waited. A zoning enforcer and a DA rep named Andrea Marks, sharp as a tack with a stack of HOA filings already pulled. They claimed this as community-owned land, she said, tapping a folder. Cropped photos to hide your parcel. No mention of you. Can I charge em? I asked. If we prove intent? Hell yes. Sign here for the civil suit. We'll handle criminal. I scrawled my name, feeling the first twinge of that sweet, building satisfaction. By week's end, an orange cease and desist notice slapped onto their fancy gate. Certified letters flew to Olivia and the treasurer, Philip Greer, a weaselly guy who'd rubber-stamped the budget. I didn't see Olivia for 2 days, but when she showed, oh boy, she stormed up my driveway, heels stabbing the dirt, face redder than a sunset. What in God's name, Jack? You're sabotaging a vital community asset. Protecting my property, you mean? I replied calmly, leaning on my truck. You built on stolen land and called it progress. She waved the letter like a weapon. You went to the county? Filed a lawsuit? The sheriff's involved now. Yep, court date's coming. Don't worry, you'll shine under oath. Her composure cracked just a bit. We were helping the neighborhood. That revenue was crucial. Dues alone aren't enough. So you steal my land because your budget's bloated? Property law doesn't bend for community needs. Olivia. She jabbed a finger. And that electric tap? It's shared utility. Theft, actually. Audit's coming. She stepped back, flustered. You're ruining everything over nothing. No, you ruined it by thinking rules don't apply to you. That weekend, a deputy taped off the unit's yellow, locking out renters mid-move. The HOA scrambled, refunding fees while canceling their precious landscaping and security upgrades. Whispers turned to shouts at the emergency meeting. I wasn't invited, but my neighbor leaked the details. Olivia spun it. The land was ambiguous. Jack never posted signs. He misled us. But Mara Jenkins, a retired realtor with a no BS vibe, stood up with GIS printouts. Here's the boundary, clear as day. Why no surveyor before dropping 32 grand? Olivia stammered, blaming her nephew, the project manager. Philip defended invoices from his brother-in-law's firm. The room erupted. By meeting's end, both were suspended. Days later, Olivia resigned for personal reasons. Philip ghosted. I left the units rotting there, a monument to their hubris. The HOA begged. Lease offers, buyouts, even a joint venture. I turned them all down flat. County hit M with a teardown order. 30 days or $500 daily fine. They fought, but with fraud piling up, they folded. I watched from my porch, iced tea in hand, as contractors ripped out foundations, hauled units away, and reseeded with native scrub. My land, restored, now with a chained gate and no trespassing signs glaring like sentinels. Olivia and Philip faced charges. Fraud, conspiracy, misuse of funds. The new board, led by Mara, actually respected lines. She dropped by with a pie. We should have questioned sooner. Thanks for exposing them. I nodded. Give thieves rope. They hang themselves. But the wind that morning carried more grit than usual, rattling my new chain like a warning. I was securing the padlock when a black SUV pulled up, two guys in plain clothes stepping out with that unmistakable cop stance. The taller one flashed a badge. Jack Harlan? Agent Loring, State Financial Crimes. This is Agent Shepard. Mind chatting about the Sunridge HOA mess? I led them to my trailer's shade. Shepard notebooked while Loring eyed the bare pads. This ain't just overreach, Shepard said. Inconsistencies in disclosures suggest laundering. Money laundering? I echoed, eyebrow up. Invoices don't match contractors. One Nevada P.O. box got 12 grand for unfinished electrical. Lights never worked, I quipped. Loring pulled a ledger. Recognize Redstone Logistics? Truck name for deliveries. Fake. Address is a vacant lot. 3 more companies ghost. One's linked to Arizona fraud. I whistled. So storage was a front? Suspect so. Your complaints gave us jurisdiction. I handed over my flash drive, photos, trail cam audio, letters. Testify if needed, Loring said. Bigger than land. That night, a moving van hit Olivia's house. Lights off, her vanishing like smoke. Subpoenas flew to the old board. My neighbor Hector spilled. Agents seized laptops mid-meeting. Philip paling like a ghost. DA called for deposition. Assistant DA Marks in a Stark office. Traced 78 grand to personal accounts via fakes. Most to Greer and Nash. Bored. Some misled, one's flipping for immunity. I signed as witness. State-eyed racketeering. Grants condo raided, flash drives in cereal boxes. Interim board froze spending. Audits revealed 150 grand siphoned over years. Phantom tennis courts, fake cameras. Residents raged at town hall. I attended. Mara moderated chaos. Dues refunds? Depends on recovery. A guy yelled, Olivia's drainage fix? No shovels. I stood. This happened 'cause no one watched. They banked on apathy. But now, accountability for all. Nods rippled. Eyes averted. Hector later. Board spot. Porch views better. Weeks on, indictments. Racketeering, fraud, negligence. Philip pled, spilling Olivia's offshore stash. She got nabbed in Utah under alias. Trial, my land evidence central. Olivia claimed verbal okay. Judge scoffed. 6 years each restitution. New bylaws. Audits, approvals over 5 grand. Term limits. I replanted mesquite and ocotillo. Built a shed. No permits needed. Mara formalized my exemption. What if you hadn't stopped them? They'd steal louder. Settlement came, 112 grand via whistleblower clause. Fenced the lot barbed, built workshop with safe. Hung a cease and desist photo as reminder. Quiet returned, but deeper ripples hit. Detective Keller called. Sandstone Community Development used your parcel for $250,000 loan. Forged deed. Misspelled name. Grip tight. Collateral. And 8 more parcels in fake HOA district for federal grant. 700 grand frozen. Investigation blew up. Doctored records, manipulated maps for revitalization funds. Fake resolutions, shell companies traced to Philip's laptop. Grand jury. I testified timelines. Olivia's adjacency rights BS. Prosecutor. HOA notice? None. Would have torched it. Indictments expanded. Wire fraud. Federal conspiracy. Damning zoom. Olivia's empty land. Boundary error. Emails. My parcel low-hanging fruit. Judge at sentencing. Stole land. Funds for vulnerables. With smug impunity. Olivia 9 years, no parole 6. Philip 8. Others lesser. Grant revoked, audits for 5 years. HOA stripped to basics. Land resurveyed. Markers concrete GPS. Rider blocking incorporations. Used settlement for fence workshop upgrades. Hector helped solar install. Sell. Never. Feels right. Silence stayed. Wind, land, victory in letting arrogance build. Then crumble. But tell me, was Jack the villain for staying silent at first? Or were Olivia and her crew the real monsters for twisting community into a license to steal?